Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here, and I'm back after a bit of a break. And so anyways, we had people while I was gone saying, hey, am I still subscribed? Absolutely are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over the last week and a half or so, and I'll review some of the best listings, some stuff you should know about the usual from Milton Daily Homes. And I'm not sure the frequency of listings for the next 2 weeks, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll keep you updated as often as we feel it's necessary. So 1471 Maple number 402 starts us off, $289,900. Not a bad price for a 2-bedroom, 2-washroom. I don't know why they'd show you paper blinds, and there's actually 3 shots of these paper blinds. The photos are not good at all. Just a blank wall. I know what they're trying to do is they're trying to show the height of the ceiling. So the 4th floor for this one and for the Main Street ones is actually a really nice feature. It's got a nice lofty feel to it, and overall, you know, the upgrades aren't anything spectacular. The photos aren't anything great. But this one isn't too bad at all. $311.52 is the maintenance fees. We're going to see another one in a couple listings as well. Then we've got 3 or 4 of these listings from Costigan. This one's at Unit 34. $319,900 is the price they're asking. Now remember, this is only a 2-bedroom home. So you look at this and you say, okay, $118 maintenance fee, and it doesn't really include utilities or anything like that. It's common elements in that stuff. What you need to know is, does this one include a garage, or is it just a separate parking space? How many parking spaces? The finishes look good. Actually, this one looks better than a lot of the ones that are even priced above it. But is it on the high part? Is it on the low part? What I find sometimes with these ones with the stacked townhouses, you have a very narrow entrance and then this little stairway that goes up. I didn't follow this development too closely, so I don't have an idea of all the different floor plans. But those are all things that I'd be considering before I went to go look at this. And equivalent value, some of these are $320, some are $340. And the thing that I look at is with $118 maintenance fee, that's basically $20,000. So you're paying anywhere from $340 to $360. Is there the equivalent value? Can you get a 3-bedroom townhouse? Absolutely, you can. You can find some nice Mattamy townhouses for the same price. I would be cautious with a 2-bedroom. That's one thing that definitely holds me back with them. And the condo fees as well. 1340 Main Street East, number 411, another 4th floor. So we talked about this one here. $329,900. It's 1240 square feet. You're getting an extra den, which is good. You're still getting that slope ceiling. It seems to be a little bit trickier to show the 9-foot ceiling in this one here. Again, photos are not anything special. I might even be concerned that this one, if this is the actual angle, this one may be facing Main Street, whereas generally the ones on Maple are pretty good. You can get a bit of the 401 noise, a bit of the James Snow, but you're still kind of away, whereas these ones, some of them are right up on the right on Main Street. So it'd be interesting to see the location, but I don't know if I would pay $40,000 for a den is the bottom line. So Costigan 24, $334,900. So there's the $319 that's really separated itself, and then you've got a couple of these up in the $335. This one looks nice. Probably the best upgrades out of all the ones from the list, and they all look like they're 2-bedroom, 3-washroom. Potentially you've got a garage space. It doesn't look like there's parking behind here. It looks like there's a little bit of a sidewalk, or that could be the curb actually, and then you've got the actual paved street behind. So it doesn't look like you can park a car in the garage. Again, we're just kind of getting to know these ones. And like I said, equivalent value might be better elsewhere. Now, I had the situation before I left, and so I had someone who came to me and said, look, I'm in a Toronto condo. By the time I've got my closing costs and everything else, I'm in it for about $420 or so. It was not worth probably more than $400,000, and so they had it listed at $440 because even the real estate fees and everything on top of the $420, and that would be their break-even point. And so it's not your God-given right to make profit, especially when you buy new construction. A lot of the builders charged a lot of money, and just remember that it's called gambling. It's not investing when you buy pre-construction. It's not something that it's guaranteed that you're going to break even. So that's a risk you take. You take a risk, you buy it 12 to 18 months prior, and then anything can happen in the market between then and now. Never mind if you paid fair value at the time. So we're starting to see some of that stuff where people are getting to the point where their home is ready. We saw this in 2008, and it's just not worth what you paid, and that's a tough position to be in, but you got to know that up front. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. They just figure, hey, you know what, new home, everything always goes up in value. Not always true. Okay, so 334, I'm just kind of skipping past this one. I didn't really mention anything about it. Corner unit is obviously the upgrade on that. We've got this one in Hamilton here. I thought it was a great listing when it first came out. So finished basement, about 1130 square feet, one big open room here, and then you've got your kitchen. There's a garage entry just down here. It's got a nice looking backsplash. Finished basement with the drop ceiling, which makes it easy to put things like pot lights in. And overall, I think this is a good listing. It's on a nice street and one full bathroom upstairs. It's nice on these ones when the basement's finished to do a bathroom downstairs, because then it gives you two full ones. $339 is still a pretty good price. I remember a couple months ago I sold a really nice one with a finished basement at almost $370. So that gives you some context for what kind of a deal it is. This one here on Costigan, $339.5. Again, I won't beat a dead horse and talk about these too much. But that's basically it. There's only a couple pictures on this one. Probably the 319 one is most likely to sell, followed by the one with the nice upgrades at I believe 334.9. Hamilton Crescent 339, same model actually, one big room. So the one just down the street at 628, so they're only 4 doors down, same model. I like some of the color choices here a little bit better. Also has a finished basement. I like the finished basement in 628 a bit better, but they're right at the same price point, and it's a battle head to head. You know, if a buyer's seeing one, they're definitely going to see another one. This one here at Pearl is 33 by 132. There's no photos. For 2 weeks not having photos, you'll wonder what it's like inside. Looks like there are 2 full bathrooms. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs. Now, it might be one of those ones where the bedrooms have a little bit of a sloped ceiling to them. $349. You look at the stuff that's sold on Bronte, kind of the same size stuff, bigger lot, smaller house. It's probably, we don't have any information about the home. Unless the home is really nice, it might be a little bit high, but they're definitely in the right range. Anything under 350, I think, is they're certainly in shooting range. So Stemmen, 379. It's an Emery model, 1370 square feet. You've got a kitchen here, anchored by a dining room here and a family room on this side. And you got to put appliances in, especially this is a pretty, this is a little bit on the high side of fair. Historically, these models have certainly sold for this, but they started to slip in the month of December. So I think you got to do everything you can to really enhance these and make them move and ready. And Johnson Heights. Now, interesting thing about Johnson Heights is it actually sold, and so it's unfortunate, but the deal fell apart at the end of November, and I'm not going to say what it sold for. However, it is, you can look that up. So that's unfortunate, because now these guys are playing poker with basically their cards on the table. Everyone's seen the price that they'd accept, and in fact, most people might make the assumption that, you know what, the deal fell apart, you might even be more motivated. So it's a really tough situation through no fault of the sellers. They're in a tough spot to be in. It's a 1510 square foot home. It's an end unit. It's a very popular townhouse. The carpet on the main floor, it's got a nice floor plan, laundry upstairs. It would help if they had hardwood for sure, but this is still historically a good price for this one. I remember I sold one in the spring in a better market, upgraded with some hardwood floors, not even an end unit, for over $400. Now Meadowbrook is $419. It's been hanging around the market for a little bit, 67 by 132 foot lot. bizarre to me, and a sign possibly of the condition of the home. It looks, first of all, like these two countertops are different, but it could be the angle of the photo. You've got nice cupboards, but you don't replace the stove. You can get an average stove, especially a white one, for like $500 on Kijiji, Craigslist, or even sometimes brand new off of a sale at Home Depot or Sears. The moldings, everything else, I don't understand what these guys are doing. It's just not equivalent. Then you've got older stuff in the basement. You've got an older bathroom. So what's the point of putting new kitchen cabinets if you're going to have an old bathroom? Because you're going to have the same objections that most buyers are going to come in. You either do it all or you do nothing. Okay, so you have to be equivalent. There has to be a baseline measure. Are you shooting for the 10 out of 10? Are you shooting for the 3 out of 10? But you can't have one part at 10 or 9 or 8, and even within the same room in the kitchen to have two different ratings. You've got to be congruent right across the board. These guys are still going to have a tough time selling this one. Clark is at $419. They've just relisted, and so it's an 1,800 square foot home with a finished basement. Taking the stuff off the fridge is always a good idea. The rest of it looks pretty clutter-free. Heavy draperies are really tough on a listing. They tend to really make a room. They close it in. I don't know if it wows you when you actually have a look at the pictures. And now, especially in we'll call it a more challenging time of year, you got to really stand out. So the kitchen down here, take the box out, put a stove in, same kind of thing, a black stove, $500. Now you have a functional space that's much more sellable than just storage. Like you've got a subwoofer sitting on top of, I don't know, a side table. Like it's not selling the actual home itself. Those tiles I'm not sure about either. I don't know if they really enhance the basement there. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Onley Lane is $429. Nice upgrades in here. I love the fact that it fronts onto a park. I think that's a great thing. Inside, obviously, a very nice looking home, well staged. All those things that we look for here. Even the fireplace, which we don't see a lot of in these models. So I like a lot of the upgrades in here. I like how they're facing an actual park. It's a great thing because you can watch the kids play, especially if you've got a balcony out front. But I have a feeling it's one of these ones here. Double garage in the back, no backyard, but this is really a big backyard that you can all share. Price to me seems a little bit high. Bishop Court is $449. Single car garage, big pie-shaped lot, one of the classic Dorset Park crescents. And when you look inside, not a tremendous amount of upgrading, and a lot of the paint colors I think are really bold, and they're probably not helping. Like that bathroom, bathrooms are a big thing for selling, and so they could have toned down some of the writing, some of the paint, and it probably just would have been a bit more neutral. It would have maybe drawn someone in. But historically speaking, bungalow on a pie-shaped lot with a garage here, $450 is not a bad range to be in. Cedar Hedge, $470. It's a Mason model. It's about 1,650 square feet. The siding out front is going to dissuade some buyers right off the bat. Cedar Hedge is the old fourth line if you're trying to find it on a map. Nice upgrades inside. The same model here is sold on Armstrong, which is a busier street. It's sold at $425, so this is a much better home inside. Still no finished basement, but they've done some nice upgrades inside. But it's still, they haven't done $50,000 worth of extra upgrades. And the other thing to be aware of too is that there's construction happening on the other side of the street. They're starting to develop that. They're going to join up Laurier and Croft. So there will be some disruption, let's say, to your enjoyment just from the construction. Based on what else has been for sale, we're seeing a lot more of detached at that size selling for even under the $450. It's more common to see even bigger homes are selling for less than $450. Valley View is at $519,500. Same model sold on the inside part of Valley View for I think right around this price. I'd have to look it up, and it was in not very good shape at all. This home is actually in really good shape. The Achilles heel on it is that it backs onto 25, onto Ontario. The kitchen looks great. It's a nice reno. It's well done. The pot lights, the cabinets, they're all really good shape. There's a walkout here, and you can walk right around, and then there's also a bedroom and the possibility of doing a bathroom right on this floor. So you could have no stair living for an older relative, plus an area here for the family room could all be shared. This is a great layout. It's really good. There's one that's for sale for a lot more. Again, on the inside part of the street, 61 by 150 lot is a great sized piece of land. You just hear the traffic buzz. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was. The other thing with these homes is that you got to watch the weeping tile. They were built in the 70s, and so you find that a lot of the weeping tile has started to break down. Go into the crawl space, get a flashlight, and you're probably going to see some white, we call that fluorescence, which is where the water has started to seep through the cinder blocks. It's a normal part of these homes, but you just need to be aware of it. So anyways, that's the story on that. I think it's a great price. 25 side road is $524,900, and it's 25 acres. The home is probably nothing fantastic, but it's got a double garage / workshop, and for that size of land, it's not bad at all. 524 is at least from a listing perspective, I think they've chosen a good price for 25 acres. Great. Best is 525. You're basically looking at just under 2,000 square feet plus a finished basement. Looks like a relatively open concept layout. They at least have to try. This blows my mind when they still have the tape and everything on the appliances. You need to give a feeling that the home is going to be livable, that it's move-in, that it's at least close to that. I never understood why people did that. I know you want to create the impression that the appliances are new, but guess what? You're living in dirt. You know the house is just built. I don't think that you need to. I don't think you need to be a Captain Obvious and have that stuff on your appliances. Greenleaf 609, 2470 square feet, all brick elevation. It's got some nice upgrades, especially in the kitchen. Looks like a nice looking kitchen, and then you've got a finished basement as well. I probably want to see this number in the 5s, just given what else is sold for around that range. Freeman 679. Awesome, basically backing onto protected forest. Not many of these come out, and they've got a finished basement too, but paint choice, I think, definitely affected them. You can't have yellows and greens and all this stuff. It's just not going to work out. Kitchens on these are a little bit small, but overall, I think with the draw of the basement and the forest behind, it's definitely a nice thing. But a lot of these photos are really narrow. That to me does not look like a very big room. I think it's going to be a challenge for these guys here. And the pink garage is not doing anyone any favors. So upgrades on the photography, I think, would go a long way on this one. It's a 40 by 109 foot lot, so it's a nice size, practically old Milton size lot, and you've got 9-foot ceilings, and it's in a great school district. So anyway, so that's the list. Probably was a little bit wordy. Maybe I'm just catching up for lost time. But welcome back to Milton Daily Homes, and we still are available. If you want to meet at Starbucks, if you want to come on a tour, there's a lot of things that we're doing in the next 2 weeks that will really help you prepare if you're thinking about making a move in the new year. So have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.